Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
We begin this hour with the latest on the fallout from the Microsoft SharePoint security issue. Microsoft saying that a Chinese hacking group exploiting security vulnerabilities in the company's SharePoint servers to deploy ransomware follows a cyber attack discovered last week. Carol, this cyber attack has affected hundreds of entities around the world, including about 400 government agencies, corporations, and other groups. That's according to estimates from the security firm ICYMI, including the National Nuclear Security Administration.
That's right. That U.S. agency is responsible for maintaining and designing the nation's cache of nuclear weapons. That was among those breached. For more, let's bring in Jennifer Ewbank. She's the founder of Andaman Strategic Advisors. They advise companies and clients on cyber resilience, digital transformation, and geopolitical risk. She spent, great background, more than 3 decades in tech intelligence and national security, and served as the deputy director of the CIA for digital innovation from 2019 through 2024. She joins us from Virginia. So great to have you with us. We've been dying to kind of do a little bit of a deeper dive into this story. This was a serious attack. I am curious about how you are seeing it and kind of the level that it seemed to be able to penetrate.
Yeah, it's a great question. And thanks for your invitation today, Carol. You hit the high points in the introduction. I think that's really important. But I'm going to just shape it slightly differently and say that I think we'll look back on this breach as one of those milestone ones that where you measure the developments of strategic attempts to infiltrate our networks and our systems. We'll look back on it like SolarWinds, like the Exchange server compromise in 2021. So what is most interesting to me here is that this looked like an espionage operation, classic espionage to collect information, sensitive data, intellectual property, you name it, launched by 3 government-affiliated entities. And then, as you mentioned, just about 6 days ago, it has flipped to ransomware. One of those 3 entities has started dropping ransomware on affected servers, and then, demanding ransom, extortion. So this is really something new that we've not seen previously.
Can I just ask you, China, Microsoft accusing hackers associated with the Chinese government of breaking into computer systems. From your work in the government, is China our friend? And I ask that kind of innocently, naively, but I kind of know the answer. But tell me, from a government perspective, how you look at China and how, especially, didn't we just open up NVIDIA chips to go back to China? Like, how do you look at what is the right relationship, especially with advanced technology, American technology, how we should be?
Yeah, that's a really complex question. And I'm going to hit it first from the cyber perspective, since we're talking about this massive breach today. And in terms of cyber capabilities, the People's Republic of China is amongst the most capable, most aggressive, most ambitious, most well-resourced kind of actors anywhere in the world. If you took, and there's a scale issue here, if you took all of the cyber actors affiliated with the Chinese government, it probably outnumbers everything the US and all of our allies could bring to the fight together. The scale is really huge. And these 3 entities that have been identified by Microsoft are 2, the names don't really matter to all the viewers perhaps, but Linen Typhoon and Violet Typhoon, they've been seen for a long time. They're considered advanced persistent threats. They have their own APT moniker numbers. The other is Storm 2603, if I'm not mistaken, 2603. And that's less visible, and it hints at this ecosystem that has taken shape in the People's Republic of China, where they have scaled their cyber operations globally by tapping into contract hackers. So each of these government entities in each province around the country can then reach out to contractors in pretty large numbers. And then the other interesting thing in that is that within that contractor ecosystem are also criminal actors. So there's this weird overlap between government, contract entities and criminal entities, such that the lines are becoming blurred. And that's one of the really interesting things about this particular breach, because we're seeing what looked like classic espionage, sort of government on government, or China, of course, considers commercial espionage to be national security operations. So collecting on commercial interest. But then flipping to ransomware, that starts to raise questions about what's going on here.
Jennifer, I've been doing this show with Carol for almost 5 years at this point, so I can steal a question from you that I know you're thinking about. It's something that you remind us of all the time, Carol, and that's the idea that, wait a second, doesn't the United States do stuff like this as well?
I'm going to say no. Yes and no. Okay. So there's an understanding that in the world today and in the world forever, espionage is a reality. And that's generally governments seeking information of strategic value about the plans and intentions of adversaries and competitors around the world. That has generally been within the realm of allowable activity, if you will. So if I wanted to understand what a hostile government planned to do to harm the United States, and I had the hacking capability to do that, that would generally be, let's say, within the boundaries. What's different is that the PRC has a different approach. They do, as you know, hack U.S. companies on a very large scale. It's the greatest illegal transfer of wealth in human history has been through IP theft by the People's Republic of China from the United States and companies here. That's not something that the U.S. does. And when we look at what's happening with this particular breach, where you have government-sponsored activity that has now, in the last 6 days, flipped to be ransomware, that's a whole other area. That's definitely something that the U.S. government has not and would not do.
So I'm going to go back to the second part of my question then. You know, we have, once again, NVIDIA is going to be selling chips right into China. So I'm just wondering what the thinking is, if they're going to build it on U.S. technology, right? Like the tech war is on. But what's your observation on this?
So this is a really interesting one. I'll try to be very quick about it because it could be deep and weedy here. But in essence, what we're seeing is the emergence of two parallel digital ecosystems around the world. One that's U.S. innovation and our partners and allies around the world. And it's rooted in concepts around democracy. So privacy, we try. Privacy, data sovereignty, security, independence or sovereignty, you name it. Another model, more digital authoritarian, is really modeled around monitoring, controlling societies and maintaining state power. And that model is disseminating around the world through the infrastructure that the People's Republic of China is selling, largely in the global south, but not exclusively there. And so it's a long way of saying that I really appreciated the CEO of NVIDIA's comments yesterday about how he wanted America to maintain that lead and be the standard, because this issue of digital standards is really a battlefield for the future of technological leadership. And technological leadership in this way, in my opinion, is really about global leadership, about superpower status, and we're going to have to lead in digital technology if we want to maintain that global lead more broadly. And so I can see the logic. I'm not saying good or bad, but I can see the logic behind promoting American innovation and standards so that we can weaken the emergence of that, say, parallel digital ecosystem could compete with us.
Jennifer, we only have 10 seconds left. Can you just give us one tip to stay safe in an environment such as this?
Oh, yeah. Apply all your patches immediately. Rotate your encryption keys if you're affected. And hunt for anything that might be on your systems and unplug your system if you think you might be affected while you're taking these measures.
Okay, I said one thing, that's 4, but it's okay. We're going to let it slide.
Do you have encryption keys?
I'm going to Google this stuff.
Oh my God.
In an encrypted setting.
Jennifer, come back real soon. This was fabulous. Jennifer Ewbank, founder of Andaman Strategic Advisors, joining us right here on Bloomberg Businessweek Daily.